Hi, hello all my dear students. So today I am here to revise a very important topic with you for CA Foundation, and that topic is known as article writing. Now why I am saying that article writing is very important, it is because it has been seen in the past 3 to 4 exams that the institute has possibly asked a question on article writing in every exam for at least 4 to 5 marks. So that is why this chapter is very important from your exam point of view. Also, it is my personal opinion that article writing is something which is very easy. Why it is easy? Okay, I will come to that, but let me tell you that the CA Foundation syllabus is something which lays a lot of emphasis on your writing skills. So here you have got to write a lot, okay, a lot of things, like for example you have to write a formal letter, you have to write a formal email, you have to write circulars, you have to write memos, you have to write presse, you have to write articles. So I personally believe that out of all these topics, article writing is something which is a little bit easy. Why article writing is easy? It is because जब हम कोई article लिखते हैं तब we are giving our own suggestions, our own opinions, our advice on any given topic. So that is the reason article writing जब हम लिखते हैं तब there is very less possibility of us being wrong, because हमारा suggestion, हमारा opinion, हमारा advice, it can be anything, right? So that is the reason I am saying that article writing is something which is easy. For an example, if the institute gives you exam question saying that write an article on COVID-19. Now COVID-19 I can write it from any possible angle. मैं COVID-19 के बारे में ऐसा भी लिख सकती हूँ that how COVID-19 has proved to be a threat to the entire mankind. I can also write an article on COVID-19 saying that how COVID-19 has proved to be a boon for the entire environment. ऐसा भी मैं आर्टिकल लिख सकती हूँ और वो गलत भी नहीं होगा. I can also write about how COVID-19 has given us a chance to introspect on our own lives, okay, in this lockdown period. I can also write an article about that. तो मैं कुछ भी लिखूँ आर्टिकल राइटिंग में, ये गलत नहीं होगा. So यहाँ पे मेरा स्कोप बढ़ जाता है in order to write an article on any given subject, and that is the reason I am saying that article writing is very easy and it is very scoring, and it also gives you a chance to be very innovative in your article. Now coming to what is an article. हमने कई बार आर्टिकल देखा है, हमने कई बार आर्टिकल पढ़ा है, okay, in newspapers, in magazines, on the internet, everywhere we have read a lot of articles. But now in your CA Foundation you have to learn about how to write an article. Okay, तो चलिए देखते हैं how to write an article. Alright, so now coming to what is an article. Now this is something that has been given in your ICAI modules, and I have just concised it into a form of a PowerPoint presentation to make it easier for you all. So what is an article? An article is nothing but it is a piece of a writing which is intended to be published in a newspaper, a magazine or a journal. जैसे कि मैंने कहा है that many a times we have read the newspaper, magazine or journal, and many a times we have read an article in that. Okay, so that is nothing but it is an article. But now the question is whether article that we have read is a formal writing or an informal writing. So let me tell you, my dear friends, article is a form of an informal writing. Okay, why it is an informal writing? It is because we can put forth our views, our opinions, our suggestions on any particular topic in that article. So therefore we need not follow any rules, any regulations or any technique while writing an article. Also, there is one thing that we need to remember when we are writing an article, that article is usually written for a very wide audience. Okay, so हमारा audience जो होता है वो बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा होता है यहाँ पे, and that is the reason why we have to keep the language of the article very simple, and yet you have to make it interesting. Now why to make an article interesting is because when the reader reads the first paragraph of your article, he has already made up his mind whether to read the article ahead or not. So you have to make sure that the article is interesting for the reader to read, and also that article is something which is less formal than a report. Okay, so जो हम report writing लिखते हैं, okay, report writing is also another chapter in your CA Foundation. So report writing is considered as a little formal piece of writing. However, article is considered as a less formal piece of writing. Now coming to what is the purpose of writing an article. Okay, तो क्योंकि हम अभी आर्टिकल लिखने वाले हैं CA फाउंडेशन में, we need to know that आर्टिकल लिखना क्यों ज़रूरी है. Okay, so we need to offer certain suggestions, we need to give some advice, we need to offer certain opinion on any given topic, and that is the reason why we write articles. For an example, the current COVID-19 pandemic that is going on, okay, and now since we are at the unlock 1 stage, so if you have to offer any suggestions about this, you know unlock 1 तो हो रहा है, but do you think it is a good move by the government? Okay, और अगर good move नहीं है तो क्यों है? ओके और अगर ये नहीं करना चाहिए गवर्नमेंट ने, तो आपके पास दूसरा क्या सजेशन है या दूसरा क्या एडवाइस है आपके पास? सो दीज आर सम थिंग्स दैट यू कैन राइट इन योर article. Okay, another purpose why we write an article is to provide information on any given topic. Okay, for an example, if I have written any book, okay, now after reading that book, okay, if I have to share any given information, okay, that is what I have felt after reading that particular book, okay, what are my thoughts about that book, if I want to put it forth before people, so I can write that in the form of an article. Next, if I have to describe any location, any person or any object or a technology, still I can go for an article writing. For an example, if I had been on a vacation to some place, after coming back from that vacation, if I want to write about how that place is, okay, say for example I have been to Leh Ladakh last week or last month, so after coming back from there, if I have to write down about a brief article about how my trip was, what all are the things that I have seen there, okay, if I want people to know more about it, so I can go ahead and write an article. If I want to write about any famous person, okay, whether he is living or dead, so still I can go ahead and write an article. For an example, if I have read any autobiography of a famous personality, okay, for an example, if I have read a collection of Savarkar, Veer Savarkar, okay, so maybe I have read that, and if I have to compile all that I have read in an article, so आई कैन गो अहेड एंड डू दैट. तो बेसिकली आर्टिकल राइटिंग जो है वो किसी एक लोकेशन पे किया जा सकता है, वो किसी एक पर्सन के बारे में किया जा सकता है, किसी एक ऑब्जेक्ट के बारे में किया जा सकता है. फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल मोबाइल फोन, राइट? सो हाउ मोबाइल फोन्स हैव अफेक्टेड द करंट जनरेशन. सो इफ आई वॉन्ट टू राइट एन आर्टिकल अबाउट दैट, आई कैन राइट दैट. ओके, टेक्नोलॉजी, ओके, नो, बिकॉज ऑफ दिस COVID-19 situation, how we all were dependent upon technology for working from home or any matter whatsoever. So we can go ahead and write that in an article. Next, if I have to write something about any argument or any counter argument, again I can write that in the form of an article. For example, these days there is a topic which is going on, that is whether you should boycott Chinese goods or not. Yes, whether I should boycott Chinese apps or not, whether if I boycott TikTok app and other Chinese apps, whether is it going to affect the Chinese economy or not. तो ऐसे arguments, ऐसे counter arguments के ऊपर अगर मुझे कुछ लिखना है, again I can go ahead and I can write it in the form of an आर्टिकल. ओके, नाउअडेज अगर हम देखते हैं तो बहुत सारे ऐसे आर्टिकल्स व्हाट्सएप पे भी सर्कुलेट हो रहे हैं. सो दीज आर नथिंग बट दे आर फॉर्म्स ऑफ articles. And again, last one, if I have to bring about comparison about any things, again I can write an article. For example, अगर मुझे compare करना है Apple versus an Android phone, okay, so again I can go ahead and I can write an article. But now the question is, अगर मुझे article लिखना है तो what should be the prescribed format of my article? Now मुझे article लिखना है तो article writing के लिए कोई एक prescribed format तो होना चाहिए. Yes, तो article के लिए एक prescribed format तो है, but it is very simple. So let me tell you what it is and let me give you some tips about the format of an article. तो सबसे पहले जब हम article लिखते हैं, we start with writing a heading or a title for an article that we are going to write. मैं जिस किसी चीज़ के बारे में आर्टिकल लिखूँ, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई हैव टू राइट अ बुक रिव्यू, ओके, सो आई हैव टू गिव अ suitable heading or title for that article. बट एट द सेम टाइम यू हैव टू रिमेंबर कि मेरा जो टाइटल है दैट हैज़ टू बी वेरी आई कैचिंग, दैट हैज़ टू बी इलस्ट्रेटिंग द सेंट्रल थीम ऑफ द आर्टिकल दैट आई एम गोइंग टू राइट. मैं जो भी चीज़ अपने आर्टिकल में कवर करने वाली हूँ, ऑल दैट आई हैव टू राइट डाउन इन द हेडिंग एंड टाइटल in a sentence, in a line. So title is something that should be eye catching, it should be something that should be a one liner, and it should illustrate the central theme. Next, coming to writer's name. Okay, so after writing the title, uske niche right hand side pe I am going to write the name of the writer. Okay, that is, if you are writing an article, you will write down your name by XYZ. Next, coming to the main content of the article. Now, an article is something that has to be written usually in 3 paragraphs, but उससे ज़्यादा भी हो सकता है. Okay, 3 paragraphs इसके लिए बोल रही हूँ because in the exam you will not have more time to write more than 3 paragraphs, right? So the first paragraph will be an introduction. Introduction में हम क्या क्या लिखने वाले हैं? I told you, as I mentioned earlier, that reading the first paragraph, the reader is going to make out whether to read your article further or not. अगर उसको ऐसा लगता है पहले पैराग्राफ में ही कि इसने बहुत बकवास सा आर्टिकल लिखा है, he is not going to read your article further. So you have to make sure कि आपका जो introductory paragraph है that is very appealing to the audience. Okay, so what are we going to write down in the introduction? We are going to write down certain facts and figures. We are going to write down some statistics. We are going to write down some rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions का मतलब होता है ऐसे questions जिसके answer obvious से है. Right? You cannot go and ask the audience personally कि आपको इसका आंसर है मालूम है या नहीं, you know, what do you think is the answer of this? But ऐसे questions पूछना है that the answers should be obvious. वहाँ पे आप कोई quotes लिख सकते हो, कोई anecdotes लिख सकते हो. So this is what you can write down in your introduction and make it more impressive. Then coming to the main body. Okay, आपको जो second paragraph है वहाँ से चालू होता है आपका main body. Okay, the main content that you want to write down. So main body, it can go into 2 to 3 paragraphs depending upon how much detail you want to give in that particular article. Okay, but exam में it is preferable that you only write 1 to 2 paragraphs. Don't increase the length of your article unnecessarily because you have got to attempt other questions also. And then coming to the conclusion. तो conclusion में हम क्या लिखने वाले हैं? Whatever we have written in the introduction and main body, तो उसको हमको summarize करते हुए एक conclusion paragraph देना है. Okay, so what are we going to write in the conclusion? It is something like a final opinion that we will write. अगर हम उस आर्टिकल में ओपिनियन दे रहे हैं तो, या you will just give a recommendation on something, or you will simply give a comment expressing a hope. Okay, for example, अगर COVID-19 पे you have to write an article, so you will just write down that just hoping that India and the world soon comes out of this situation. ऐसा एक comment लिखोगे expressing a hope and you will end it on a good note. ओके, कंक्लूजन लिखना इसलिए भी ज़रूरी है बिकॉज हमने चालू तो कहीं से किया है बट उसको अब्रप्टली ख़त्म नहीं करना है. यू हैव टू फिनिश इट इन अ प्रॉपर मैनर एंड दैट इज़ वाई वी हैव टू राइट अ कंक्लूजन. ओके, but I want you to remember one thing. Please note the following thing, that whatever heading or title you have written for your article, please make sure that you justify the title of your article in your main writings. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आपने टाइटल या आपने हेडिंग कुछ और लिखा है और जो आपने कंटेंट लिखा है that is not making sense with the title. ओके, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर कोविड-19 के बारे में मुझे आर्टिकल लिखना था और अगर मैंने टाइटल दिया है कोविड-19 का, दैट मिनेसिंग कोविड-19. ओके, मिनेसिंग का मतलब है समथिंग दैट कॉजेज अ थ्रेट. Okay, something that is threatening, something that is affecting your lives in a very bad manner, so that is called as menacing. तो अगर मैं लिख रही हूँ menacing COVID-19, तो I have to make sure that whatever article I have written, it is about how COVID-19, how coronavirus has created a menace in India and the world. राइट, अगर आप मिनेसिंग कोविड-19 ऐसा टाइटल लिख रहे हो और उसके नीचे जो आप कंटेंट्स लिख रहे हो, यू आर राइटिंग अबाउट अनलॉक 1. ओके, कंटेंट्स लिख रहे हो अनलॉक 1 के बारे में और टाइटल लिखा है मिनेसिंग कोविड-19, तो दैट इज मेकिंग नो सेंस एट ऑल. ओके सो आपको यू हैव टू मेक श्योर कि आप जो कॉन्टेंट्स लिख रहे हो यू आर डूइंग जस्टिस टू वॉट टाइटल you have written. And finally, I have given over here one example of an article. Okay, so यहाँ पे एक article है which is again has been taken from your ICAI module itself. Okay, and इसका source है Times of India. तो Times of India का एक ये article था जो उन्होंने आपके module में भी लिखा है, that is genius has a gender only in our minds. तो यहाँ पे उन्होंने question पूछा है that does genius have a gender? Okay, if we say that a person is genius, we are often referring to, you know, a male and not a female. But क्या ऐसा है? So the answer is only in our minds. Okay, तो यहाँ पे हम title लिखने वाले हैं. Okay, and then right hand side below that title you are going to write the byline. So you have by Mr. XYZ, whoever has written this article, and then you have written 3 paragraphs in this particular article. Okay, तो पहला है तुम्हारा introduction. ओके फिर कम्स योर मेन बॉडी, एंड मेन बॉडी में बहुत सारी चीज़ें आप लिखने वाले हो विच इज़ कंसर्निंग द टाइटल. ओके, एंड देन फाइनली यू विल राइट डाउन अ कंक्लूजन पैराग्राफ, एंड दिस इज हाउ यू एंड योर आर्टिकल. ओके, तो कमिंग टू द फॉर्मैट ऑफ एन आर्टिकल इज कंपैरेटिवली वेरी सिंपल. ओके, alright, so let us quickly revise in a minute that what is article writing. So article writing is nothing but it is a piece of writing which is intended to be published in a newspaper, in a magazine or a journal. Now it is an informal piece of writing. Because it is an informal piece of writing, we need not follow any rules, regulations or any techniques while we write the article. Now what is the purpose that an article is written for? It can be written in order to give any opinion, any advice, any suggestions, or you know, in order to write any arguments or counter arguments, in order to compare any two topics, in order to describe any person, place, object or a technology. So इन सारे चीज़ों के लिए हम basically article लिख सकते हैं. Coming to the most important part, format of an article कैसा रहना चाहिए? First of all, you should give a heading to the और अ टाइटल टू द आर्टिकल. तो टाइटल अपने आप में ही एक आई कैचर होना चाहिए. इट शुड इलस्ट्रेट द सेंट्रल थीम ऑफ द article. Next, उसके बाजू में नीचे right hand side will be the articles, the writer's name, that is the byline. And next you will write down the article in possibly 3 paragraphs. First one is your introduction. तो introduction में you have to make the introduction as interesting as possible and you have to finish it in almost 1 paragraph. You can include quotations, statistics, whatever you want. Okay, main body में आपका जो भी title है, you make sure you do justice to that particular title. Okay, main body 2 से 3 paragraphs में भी हो सकता है, बट एग्जाम में आपको इतना टाइम नहीं मिलेगा, तो पॉसिबली राइट इट इन 1 to 2 paragraphs. And then whatever you have written in your introduction and in your main body, you will summarize that in the conclusion and you can give some recommendation or express some hope. So ये रहा a quick revision about your article writing. Okay, I hope you all have understood this particular topic of article writing. Okay, it is my personal intuition that in the upcoming CA Foundation exam that will be held in almost July or August, okay, or the November 2020 exam, it is my personal suggestion, my intuition that the institute may ask you to write an article on the COVID-19 situation in India or the world. Okay, so COVID-19 pandemic पे institute क्वेश्चन पूछ सकती है, इसके पूरे चांसेस है. सो मेक श्योर दैट यू प्रिपेयर एंड मेक श्योर दैट you know try writing an article on the same before you go in for your main exams. Okay, if you have any doubt about this particular topic, you can leave it down in the comment section, or if you have any other topic in mind that is difficult and you want me to cover in your English syllabus of CA Foundation, do write down that also in the comments. So thank you so much for your hearing. Bye bye, see you guys.